Welcome back to the show. Now we're getting into our They Cloned Tyrone review. And to start with the overview, this is a 2023 science fiction comedy mystery film directed by Juel Taylor in his feature film director debut from a screenplay he wrote with Tony Redmeyer, starring John Boyega, Teyonnah Parris, and Jamie Foxx. And they all become an unlikely trio uncovering a government clothing conspiracy. Alan Greer and Kiefer Sutherland also appear in supporting roles. They had a 94% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, as we mentioned before the before the show. Rotten Tomatoes actually got it right this time. But in terms of just this being a film that was, very smart and sophisticated, but still fun and unique, I really haven't seen a lot of films in the past few years that have kind of taken a turn like this, but still had the humor and still had the
Yeah.
rich dialogue that we always like. What were your initial thoughts on this film overall?
That was my initial thoughts. Like I had no words. I had no words.
Perfect.
Um just how it started. Um it was I would I'm lost for words. Well, let's I really no, but what I really thought about the film starting off, I thought it was an attention grabber
Mm.
that it kept you glued to the screen because you were confused as much as he was confused.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Speaking of talking about Jamie Foxx character, but I thought it was what a great film. Like you said, it had that humor. It had the development of characters. It had that hoorah moment for the
Mm.
black community. It had those little things that conspiracy theories that you feel like you could cling to as well. Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah. So it had
chicken
every
spot.
element. Yeah, chicken spot, KFC. First thing I thought of was
That's
KFC.
literally what I
Not
thought.
KFC. Popeyes. Sorry,
Oh,
not
Popeyes,
KFC.
yeah.
Popeyes. Yeah, Popeyes.
It's
And I
like
was
the
like,
next time I
oh,
go there, am I gonna just start laughing?
that's exactly what I thought. That chicken sandwich. But no, what a great film, man. That's yeah. I was lost for words because I was just like the whole time, like, bro, what is? Oh, why did you get at the call? Oh, it's exactly like my whole. Yeah, I was glued. I was glued to the screen, man. It was definitely a attention grabber.
Definitely. And before we get to our first topic, one character. I mean, a lot of good performances in this one, but John Boyega, man,
Oh,
dude is a star. Dude is a star, man.
yes,
He is so versatile in his acting style. Obviously, he was playing multiple characters at one point in this movie. He was joking about like this was the film where he was getting into his like Eddie Murphy bag from like
yeah.
coming to America. He said I always wanted to do what Eddie Murphy did in that film. But what did you think about this performance from him? And just the potential he has going forward because he's a bright star in this film
Yes,
industry and can keep
yes.
taking it further.
He convinced me in with every character that he played.
Yeah.
And I think that's with some characters, even with Eddie Murphy. And I'm like, bro, Eddie, you didn't have to do that. Like, even though they're like spoofs, they're funny. I'm like, okay, that character's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not convinced about that character. But every character that he played, even the doctor, obviously the normal Fontaine, even the guy who was supposed to be the henchman,
Oh yeah.
like every character he played, I was convinced. You wouldn't think he was from overseas. He was British. Like you would never know he would have had an accent. He convinced me with every character, with the motions, the movements, the
Right.
mannerisms, just the whole nine. What a performance! Even the promo that he did with himself, that he was Fontaine, he was just John Boyega. He was like,
Oh
you
yeah.
you was a Star Wars. He was like, yeah, he was like, I see it. So yeah, he convinced me. His performance was really good. And obviously, you got Jamie Foxx right there, probably giving you porns because Jamie Foxx is one of the greatest actors that ever lived. So
That's
I
another thing I
mean,
was gonna say. Like when you have an actor like that, like Jamie Foxx, a legend in so many aspects. How much does that help? Just to have that older voice and that guy who's been like, "Hey, I've been where you've been before, and
yeah,
these are the pointers you can take."
I think it's one of those things at first is intimidating until you meet a person like Jamie Foxx. I'm just gonna use him obviously because we're talking about him, but he probably just talking like, "Yo, relax, just be you, bro. Just find yourself in those characters
Right.
and just let it rip. Don't feel like you're gonna make a mistake or you're doing too much because obviously you got the director there too to tell you the same thing. But when Jamie
Yeah.
Foxx, he's been because he's even Django, bro. Like listening to Tarantino's." comments or what he was talking about, how Terry was like, I knew he was going to have to this. I just be a slave. He's a slave. So even when you're a high top actor, you still have to be told, like, bro, just do like, you don't have to do too much. It's
Yeah, get in
in
your
there
bag.
already. So just be relaxed, be yourself, and just let the character take you where it's going to take you. So I'm pretty sure that's what some of the pointers was, as well as cracking jokes. And probably try to talk like him. Hey mate,
Right.
hey British mate, and just making the set fun. That's probably what it
Yeah.
was.
Keeping it light as well.
Exactly.
And I'll get into our first topic from 1 to 4 stars. What would you give it? I would definitely give this 4 because it's an extremely daring film and it's just exclusively innovative. Even though it's a social commentary, it still holds up a mirror to society in a harrowing and hilarious way. To you, from 1 to 4 stars, what would you give it, and some of your reasons?
4 stars. Um, myself and a lot of other people were like, I'm surprised Netflix let this go. Let this be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes
But
you
I'm
think.
glad that, yeah, it makes you think like, okay, they know it too. And I
Mm,
know they do. They obviously they do this all the time. And
yeah,
there's certain communities they do this in too. But I love how daring it was, like you said. They weren't afraid to make those conspiracy theories more elevated and more elaborated.
mm.
Because we always like, man, I know they cloning people. Oh, I know they putting stuff in the products. Yes, they are. And
Oh yeah,
here is what we think about it. So I love that element of it, and I love the character development and how John Boyega was able to use those characters to make the movie like full. Like those characters, like the first Fontaine, I was like, man, okay, I'm convinced he can really play this character. And then when he got shot, I was like, oh yeah, he can really
he
play this
definitely
character.
can.
But it had you didn't know what was going to happen even when you thought you knew what was going to happen. Even, oh, they're going to find, but you don't know what they're going to find.
Right.
So it was always kept you on your toes. And then when you're on your toes, it'll bring you down to give you some laughter. Then it'll lift you back up. So it was ever so moving in so many ways, and the writing was so perfect
Excellent.
for this film. And then the actors obviously did their job to bring it to life. But yeah, man, 4 stars, daring film, Netflix. I appreciate you letting this come because I'm pretty sure they went somewhere else with this film and it got cut down.
Oh
But
yeah,
Netflix,
this is
yeah,
one
I'm
where
sure.
it got cut down. Yeah,
Yeah.
clear signs of that.
very,
They're
very
like touch
clear sign.
that.
Very clear signs, man.
Even how Get Out, it had a different ending than the one it
Yes.
actually had, and they were probably like, "Nah, we're not gonna let this one, we're not gonna let this ending go out." Like,
But I'm glad we
um,
still got to see it though.
yeah,
That
because
alternate
you
ending,
wanted to
yeah.
see that. Yeah, you wanted to see those alternate endings to see what was the original end thought. And now getting into favorite character, I would go with Fontaine because he has just such a fascinating character arc. As his moral compass was survival, and he pulls back the curtain more
Mhm.
with the multiple characters that John Boyega is having to portray at one point, and he really is the center point of the movie in a lot of aspects of, just realizing the cloning and all the things that are going on later in the film. But to you overall, who's your favorite character?
Jamie Foxx, Slick Charles, man.
Who's hilarious.
He's so funny. He's the worst bad pimp, the worst good pimp ever, bro.
Ever of all time.
Why don't you have money, Slick? Slick Charles, why don't you have any money? But no, he was the added humor, but he also was the conspiracy theories out of all of them. Like he was
Oh,
the
for
one like,
sure.
nah, bro, this is not right. This don't feel right. But I love this character because without that character, just thinking of like what other character or other occupation I would say
Yeah.
that would fit in this role. You brought 3 unlikely people,
Mm,
which are planning in each community. So it's strategically put in there how they wrote this. There's
yeah.
always a pimp. There's always a drug dealer. There's always a prostitute. Uh,
Man.
uh,
Listeners are gonna
that-
be like, what did he say? I missed that part. Well, did you
I
edit
said
that
prostitute.
out?
I said prostitute. I am sorry. But oh my goodness. But yeah, it was just I love how
Three unlikely people.
yeah, they're not working together. But nah, I love Jamie Foxx's character. He was especially that hoorah scene I was talking about. He was the face of it.
Yeah.
He was the leader of that hoorah scene. So he's like, I got the whole hood behind me. His voice too. That
His
voice is so
voice.
funny.
You talking about that cuticle? Take care of that cuticle. And now getting into most memorable scenes, I had the secret elevator, also finding the test site, meeting your maker, storming the lab, and then finally, who is Tyrone? To you, what
Yeah.
were some of the memorable scenes overall in this one? And the one, I mean, I can't even leave out the church, when they're in the church, one of the main ones. But what were some of your memorable scenes?
Uh Obviously Wellington does this all the time. He picks the great scenes. So I'm gonna just use the subpar ones. Um but the church scene with David Allen Greer, as soon as I saw, I was like, oh my gosh, they had to have him in here. The scenes with the guy, I forgot his name, who he pours the drink into a cup all the time. He was the planet guy. He was
Mm,
give him Fontaine information. And I thought those were like pivotal scenes.
yeah.
Obviously, the scene when the first Fontaine got shot up, I thought that was very interesting. We were thinking like, why did he get out the car? I would have rammed. He I guess he wanted to salsa. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the moves. Had to do that Big Sur crew.
But he got shot up, boy. But that scene was really dope. The scene where he figured out he didn't have a mom.
Mm,
And he just
very
busting
pivotal.
in there. He was like, bro, what? So it's just everything unfolding. But all of his other scenes was dope. And then the scenes when they were driving, everybody was in the cars. And I'm like, I got the whole hood behind me. And
Oh
then,
yeah,
yeah. So that was a good scene too.
definitely. And now getting into most memorable quotes I had. I don't really appreciate how you come in here from Slick Charles. Young Blood Trader is
Mm-hmm.
created from Frog. You don't want to do this, man. We're everywhere from Tech. The big man will always point the way from Frog, and then finally represent yourself in the best way, man. From Fontaine. To you, what were some of the standout quotes in this film?
Slick Charles had some of the best ones. Some that didn't even make sense. Like, ain't no snow, but I can still ski in it. Oh, right. Um,
Come again?
uh, sir. But that was the one that stood out the most. But it was a bunch of them I just can't remember. And obviously, hey concert. What he does the voice and kills me. Hey, I know they probably did that scene about 3 times
Yeah,
because
three.
people was
We
laughing.
were like,
Hey concert. If you don't mind me, tell me the direction to that freaking other down there.
the
Bro,
director's like, hey, whole set, be quiet, don't say a word.
I would have lost it every time. He's like, hey concert. If you don't mind, tell me the direction of that freaking other down there. But yeah, that was one of the good ones. And then I got the whole hood behind me, and there ain't no snow, but I can still ski in it. Oh, what? That took me for a loop. He was a terrible pimp. He was a terrible pimp.
And now again to our next topic. What did you like the most about the storyline? To me, just how it weaves elements of black exploitation, horror, and
Yeah.
heartwarming sentiments into a single cinematic tapestry was just really was done so well, provoking deep thoughts into possible realities was another good quality of it. Because a lot of times when I think there were a lot of points in the film when you watched it, you were like, okay, I can see what they're doing here. I can see how that connects to society, what we see on a daily basis, and how certain things we just know are going on, but it's just never addressed fully. To you, what particular element of the storyline did you like the most?
Just piggyback on that right there, man. I think as a community, we all always think like, man, they're doing something in our food. They implementing certain things like, how do we get all these guns into the city? How
Right,
do we get all these drugs into the city? We don't have access to those things, so it's just like a refurbished conspiracies that we've seen and heard of our entire lives, and to be able to see that on the screen, because I haven't seen a movie that was predominantly led by black,
Mm.
that talked about these certain things and unravel these things into
Right.
a movie that was on a big platform like Netflix. So I think the storyline with that, man, just to uncover those things, and it was like the chicken, the hair products,
Yeah.
bro. These I and then
They're onto
and
something.
they're definitely cloning people. They're definitely cloning people. They're definitely cloning people. Jamie Foxx might be a clone.
Somebody said like, how did Jamie like have like a straight hairline Tuesday and then went bald Friday?
No. How did he go in looking like Wesley Snipes come out like Michael Jackson? Ain't no way. Boy was light skinned, but straight bleach face. They messed up in the formula. They was like, we made him do it. Maybe they'll think it's makeup. No, that boy light. He ain't never
Yeah.
been that light in his life. That's a dead giveaway.
And get into our last topic here from now. Like, do you still think it'll be watchable and intriguing? I think this is one that definitely will, because, like you said, there are daily sentiments and just observations that we as a community have, and then seeing this being put like a major platform. The fact
Yeah.
that it's been put on a major platform is something that really stands out. What do you think will make this a watchable and intriguing movie another decade from
One is funny. Funny
now?
always
Always helps.
captivates people. Jamie Foxx is in it. Man, crazy career that Jamie Foxx has. And
His
then,
career is just, man, it's
yeah,
still going on. It's still relevant, man. He just still finds a way to stay relevant.
yeah. I don't think I haven't seen a film that I didn't like that Jamie Foxx was in, even when he was a supporting cast type of actor at the time. Like all these films I liked. But I think the humor and then also what it entails and what it uncovers and what those conspiracy theories that I feel like there are like cemented in a lot of people's minds. And I think they'll watch this film and they'll see Jamie Foxx playing a pimp. His voice, bro. How many voices did he go through? That's what I want to know. How many voices did he go through to get on that one?
This is one of his funniest movies ever, man.
Yes, bro.
Like
Bro.
instantly.
You dead. You're supposed to be dead. Ooh. Like bro, it was just like, yeah, it was super funny. But definitely watchable 10 years from now. Definitely watch it. Definitely gonna continue to watch this. And I hope Netflix keep it on Netflix and don't take it off at any point in time because this is a Netflix original film. So
Yeah, I mean, you got it. You definitely have to keep that. And before we close out, I mean, it's so interesting because a lot of times we can see in just different directors, different movies, like Barry Jenkins with what he did with Moonlight.
Oh yeah.
And Bill Street, yeah, and I go back to that film a lot. It's just a masterpiece. Jordan
Really
Peele
good
in some of
film.
his movies. Like, how do you think certain black directors and even black films can like learn from this movie and take it even further with maybe even drama or dramas and social commentaries that really put a spotlight on what the message of this movie is and what we need to see more of from it.
I think don't be afraid to be daring and to push the envelope
Yeah.
uh, on certain topics and situations that you feel that needs to be talked about. You look at oh geez, come on, the body Black Bonnie and Clyde. I hate to say that. Come on, with our buddy who played in
Oh,
Get Out.
With Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah. Oh, what's his
Oh
name?
man, whatever. You keep going. I'm gonna do the research. I'm gonna do the research real quick.
So you look at that film, and it was daring how it started. Obviously, police brutality. That police officer had a history of that, and then he happens to get killed. And they're
Queen and
Queen and
Slim. Queen and
Slim.
Slim. Yep. There you go.
And just that storyline, it was daring. It was what people were talking about at the time, and she made an entire film around that. And at the end, it showed it be your own people who snitch and tell on you just to get a reward. They don't even care about what's really happening. They're all, So don't be afraid of being daring, even in this film. And make sure you have some type of humor in it to kind of balance it out, not
Yeah.
dilute it. But you need humor. You don't want force feed people like straight. You can't do that. You got to have some level ground, putting them back on the feet, and then put them up like this film did. Because it
Yeah.
was a mixture of like,
Perfect balance.
whoa, I
Perfect
thought
balance.
about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then somebody say something funny or something happens, and they act like we would normally act. Because everything I saw in that film, especially Jamie Foxx, when I saw Fontaine, I would have went bonkers, bro. I would be
Man.
like, "Hey, bro, you died, bro. You dead, bro. What are you talking about? You got shot." So it was just, it had that, you can just relate to it. So I think you gotta have some relatability in that film, as well as don't be afraid to talk about certain things, and then have some
Don't shy
humor in
away
it.
from those topics.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, don't shy away with it, because I mean we need that this time. Because now I think when a lot of people have watched that film, they be like, man, I I do feel different when I eat. uh, I
Yeah.
do get happy when I eat chicken. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible, bro. Oh man.
Checks, as we say, checks boxes. Checks boxes, literally.
It checks boxes.
Well, that wraps it up for today. I'm your host, Wendell Burns. I'm my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.